Hello, everyone. I'm Chestic44, also known as Falai, and welcome to this Let's Play of Citizen Sleeper. Last episode, good news and bad news. The bad news is a bounty hunter showed up and basically caught us very easily. But this guy decided to go drinking instead and went over to a club and told us, listen, you can go run around on here, just so long as you pay my tab later. We have a load of money now. I don't know how much we're going to need later. This money we actually managed to get from the owner, Ankita, the owner of the Ambergris, because her ship was repaired. She needs us to get a new ship mind for her. But we're not on a time crunch for that. We can buy the ship mind later. We'll get more pieces. We'll get that ship mind. Eventually. For now, we have other things to do. We have a load of money on our hands now. I can probably do something in the shipyard. We do need to search here. We can haul some materials. That might help out. No, we'll do the engineer. That could get us something. You shadow a shipbuilder who is impressed when you know how to double seal a hull plate. He slips you a tip at the end of the shift. Alright, we got a bit of tip and we got a little bit in the yard hand. You know what I'm also going to do? We can actually get fully into the ord exchange. There we go. We're now completely in the ord exchange. We can still sell components or play the exchange, but we also have an ort fabricator. Ship mines cannot be built from scratch, but if you have enough, salvaged fragments can be reassembled with a fabricator. We'd need 3 of them. We have a ship here that we can buy from, but we're not in a critical situation time-wise. We actually need 2 ship mines now that I think about it. Although, we do need to explore on the Lowend. Let's pay the Lowend toll and get in here and see what we can find. You hand over the chits to the Yanagun Enforcer and he sends you through. Okay, so we have the Free Spoke. A tangled network of service passages and makeshift tunnels cut through the spoke as if it were a hive. There are no maps here for entering or scaling the spoke. Blistered with precarious elevators and stairways, the spoke can be navigated from the outside, but the climb requires bravery. Ugh, risky. And the spoke is layer after layer of dense urban fabric. The only way to explore it is vertically. Noted. What else do we have? The Lowend. No one knows you here. You'll need to change that if you want access to the Lowend's residents and facilities. So, we have block maintenance. Maintained by their residents, the ramshackle blocks are always in need of repairs. Helping out is a good way to make friends. Or, play Tavla. The clack of filter caps can be heard in every concourse in the Lowend, as the residents play rotating rounds of this game for cryo. Okay, so that's a way we can explore there. And here's the unit. We have the key to get in. You find the entrance to the apartment, its passkey symbol obscured beneath layers of graffiti. Who lives here? Let's find out. The lock clunks open, the metal door swinging inward into the dark. As you push the door open, the automatic lights flicker on inside the apartment. They reveal yellowing plastic panels, the curved shape of wall-mounted utility units, the detritus of a routine life arranged on every surface. You step inside, clicking the door shut behind. The amber light of the aging fixtures glaze everything with pale orange. The work surfaces hold a variety of objects indistinct in the dull lighting. A pale blue light drifts from the doorway at the end of the room. Inspect the surfaces. Smudges through the thin layer of dust suggest a recent, rare, and hurried visit. They trace a path to the water dispenser, the auto wash, then to a cabinet still half open. On the shelf sits an empty pill case. Go to the doorway. You cross the cramped utility room with its auto wash, dispensers, water closet towards the doorway. Through the doorway is a dark, warm room lit only by the faint glow of a terminal screen. Inspect the room. A bunk is tucked into the wall, the blankets ruffled. A wall desk glitters with rows of vials and containers. A briefcase lab sits open, loaded with rows of reagents and compounds you do not recognize. In comparison, this room is clean, ordered, controlled. Approach the terminal. As you approach, there is a crackle from somewhere in the dark. Sleeper. Sabine's voice shakily echoes through the apartment. Welcome to my home. I'm sorry I can't be there. I have had to make alternate arrangements. You hear rattling noises, static. I was able to record this message, but I don't dare to show my face. Something is happening within Yatagan. I no longer trust them. Their voice becomes distant, slipping behind the background noise. I have something to ask of you. I want you to get me out. Yatagan were supposed to hide me, to protect me. After everything happened, I was desperate. And then after that, I was too tired to care. A noise like waves passes over the recording. But I'm done with them now. I want out. Screw the debt. But I need insurance. Something I can hold against them. I have my suspicions, but I can't be sure. I need information. And as you know, you need me. A pause, something clicking in the dark. This isn't a threat. You have to understand my position here. Another pause. I know sleepers. I have been here before. I can help you, but not with Yatagan's noose around my neck. Get me data. Get me information. Get me something that I can use against Yatagan. Then I can get out, and you can get what you need. Please! Waves of static cut into Sabine's voice. Bring it here to my terminal. I'll get to it when I can. You look around the tiny room and try to imagine Sabine living here. Working at the desk, sleeping in the bunk, blinking into the terminal in the dark. The recording cuts to static, filling the room with white hiss. Then silence. Access the terminal. You sit in front of the humming terminal and hit a few keys. Sabine has left an access port open, but the rest is encrypted, locked away behind passcodes. It seems Sabine might not trust you as much as they want you to think. Who does Sabine need to hide from? And what debt do they owe to Yatagan? You try to assemble the pieces, but too many are missing. The only thing you know is that without stabilizer, your body will die. You glance at the briefcase lab on the desk, its glassware glinting in the dark. You turn away and leave, the door clunking shut behind you. Back in the corridor, you notice a scrawled graffiti of a blade on the opposite wall. Yatagan. You feel yourself being drawn into something you don't quite understand. New drive. Get Sabine out. Extract Yatagan data for Sabine. We have some. We have 2. Sabine's terminal sits open on the empty apartment, waiting for the next batch. The terminal chirps, the data quickly tucked away in Sabine's encrypted system. And with enough data on Yatagan's activity, Sabine might be able to bargain for their freedom. We need to hack for another. Okay. Something we can work on, but for now, we have money. We have things to deal with here. Havenage agent, keynode. Well, we can hack for this keynode. Another encrypted key. That is a Havenage agent, a Yatagan agent, and another keynode, and another Yatagan agent. This personal terminal is empty apart from a single high-level encryption locked behind access protocols. Hunter is about to attack us. If we do another hack, Hunter will find us. We need to do something about him. Alright. If that's the case, let's go into Lowend. We can do some searching here. Play some Tavla. Okay, that was a neutral outcome. We lost some cryo. Can do it again. Hey, that was a good outcome. We gained it back. Alright. With nothing else we can do here, I guess now we just rest. So what are we gonna find next? Oh, we have so much now. That's beautiful. Scrap freighter. If we unload the containers, we might be able to get some things. That sounds like a good idea. There's plenty we can do now. First things first, we may as well buy some food. Ah, Girol fricassee. Emphas wants to make this old recipe. He'll need 3 handfuls of Girol caps, fresh and firm. Okay, we've got a lot of good things here. Oh, Minji Express, noodle factory and delivery. Noodle manufacturer. Minji has a kelp stack in the basement and he makes noodles from the seaweed. Doesn't pay much, but he'll feed anyone who does a shift. Or, delivering noodles to the nameless units of the Lowend takes guts and a certain fearlessness when it comes to asking for tips. Another source of, money. There isn't anything we get out of it, but it is a source of money, which is good to have. But I also kind of want to see what we can get at the shipyard. If we can get that uncovered, we'll see what else we have. But the scrap freighter could give us something. Still another 3 rounds for the compressor club. We need money. We could play Tavla a bit. Ooh. Block maintenance would give us energy. That would top us off. That sounds like a nice idea. There. The Tambor Tea House. Tracking Havenage. You've heard that the Yatagan Enforcer based here has been paying Lowend residents for information on Havenage movements. So we could actually give that, and get some money. There's also the Tavla Room. The Tavla Room and the Tambor Tea House is some of the best players in the Lowend. This is serious high-stakes only play. So another way to get a very nice amount of money. I'll go ahead and give you this data. 10 cryo. Well, it's something at least. Getting some money from you seems like a good idea. It isn't into it. I can turn it to 5. 24. That's a lot. Let's see if we can finish things up here. I can intuit for Tavla here. And I can get it to the max. There we go. New drive discovered. Build a home. There's a derelict unit in the Lowend that remains unclaimed. With lots of scrap and a little work, it could be yours. This half-built unit looks long forgotten, a project that never made it. With enough scrap, you might be able to seal it up. Before attempting to fix this place up, you'll need to amass enough scrap to make the repairs. 4 scrap I'll need to effectively gather up. Something to gather later. And who is Castor? You cross between 2 walls of units, one of the cavernous streets at the center of Lowend. The pressurized bridge is full of the clack of Tavla, the shouts of children, the whir of air filters. Sleeper. You turn to see a man sitting at a Tavla table alone, somehow untouched by the hustle and bustle of the people around. He gestures to the stool on the opposite side of the table. Sit. I'll sit. You sit at the metal stool and he starts setting out the board with counters. Or at least the filter caps Lowenders typically use in their place. Gastor, he says by way of introduction, looking over his glasses. Night or day? He asks, gesturing at the caps, crudely sprayed white and black. Night. He nods. The black counters are already on your side. Let's begin. You take a plastic die each, pitted and worn, and roll to determine who starts. Castor rolls a 6, you a 4. I lead. He smiles and begins to move his first cap precisely along the board. Play passes back and forth between you, the dice changing hands as the caps spread along the board. As it does, Castor speaks, eyes not leaving the caps. It is unusual to see a sleeper on the eye. That's why I wanted to play you. You take your turn, rolling a 5 and a 6. Play carefully. After all, a sleeper's mind must be somehow different to a human one. Being emulated, I mean. As Castor talks, you build up a wall of caps, stacking them safely across the board. Progress is slow, but you remain unexposed. I don't mean to offend you. Castor meets your eye. I merely see that you are by definition different. What has been subtracted in the emulation? What has been added? He slides a single cap onto an open point, a risk and an opportunity. He hands you the dice. Do you ever think about this, sleeper? About what you were before and what you are now? Always. You roll a double 1 and solidify your wall. Castor whistles. The holding game. Commendable. It can be brave to build from what came before. He rolls the dice and leaps your wall in a single move. But we cannot idle too long, sleeper. The slower we move, the sooner we are caught. The past you is not just an idea, a concept for you. It is a living, breathing person. He looks up over his glasses, his eyes bright and wide. You split from them like a shadow splitting from its caster. They may be sleeping now, yes, but one day they will awake and carry on with their lives unaware of your fate, no matter what it might be. He hands you the dice, smiling. You are a branch severed from the main trunk, an offshoot who refuses to die, so to speak. You roll again, under pressure now, trying to slip your caps out from under Castor's before he solidifies control of the game. So what I am curious about is how you see yourself in all this, Castor asks. What does this tangle of truths make you? Driven. That much is obvious, sleeper. I see it in your eyes. You are eager to make all this count for something. Castor looks away, through the glass to the crowded units on all sides. But driven towards what? He starts removing caps, his home board now full. Is there an end here? Or just endurance? You try a few more rolls, attempting to get back in the game, but Castor clears his home board with a sense of the inevitable. He has known he was winning for a while. I feel I may have pushed too far. He slides another cap from the board. I apologize, my curiosity has a habit of getting the better of me. You roll to return a cap to the board, but all the spaces are blocked. Castor clasps his hands apologetically. You play well. Really, your weakness is not your game. He smiles warmly. We have much to learn from each other. He slides his glasses back up his nose and sits back. I feel we could share knowledge, ideas, perhaps even data. His eyes glint with that last word. To our mutual benefit. He slides his final cap from the board. It is over. He has won. I'll see. Please, I don't want to make you uncomfortable. He holds up his palms. My intention is only to help you endure here. And, if I am able, feed my curiosities. The game over, you notice the bustle of the walkway once more, the call of the children, the deliveries, the arguments and reconciliations. They wash over you as you stand and leave, Castor nodding goodbye as you do. Crossing the walkway, you replay the moves of the game in your mind, looking for an opening you were sure was there. Let's see. Havenage protocols. What are the old guard up to these days, I wonder? I have a ship mind for you if you'll indulge my curiosity. Really? The stories about Yatagan are brutal, but I want the truth. A vial of stabilizer should provide the motivation. I shouldn't have sold that Havenage data. But a ship mind for 5 Havenage data. It's risky, but I think I can do that. I just need to find Havenage agents that I can hack. That's a Yatagan. That's a Havenage agent. Well, he's gonna see us. Those familiar threads wrap around you, bind you, test you. Entity, submit. Hunter's strange head bobs in your vision. Your ally in the sealed dock cannot save you. In that globed head, you see whirling strings of data, so many spinning there that they threaten to tear through the thin skin and whip out into the void around. What happened to this creature? The threads squeeze and you lose any sympathy you might have had. You must escape. Strike. You lash out once more, pushing Hunter back, severing threads that regrow as fast as they are broken. As you slip away, you realize you have to find a way to deal with Hunter once and for all. This is getting too dangerous. And we definitely will. For now, though, we don't have anything else we can do. Oh! When did I get that much damage? That's bad. That must be from the hacks that are happening. Okay. Well, I made a bad choice. I didn't realize I was taking that much damage. Well, either way, time to speak to Fang. As you arrive, Fang comes striding towards you, taking you by surprise. Let's go, Sleeper. He puts a hand on your shoulder and turns you back the way you came. Go where? To see Hardin Hurst. He gives you a sideways glance. Isn't that what you were here for? He steps into the passageway, guiding you downring towards the shipyard. Sorry for the hurry, but we have something of an opportunity. That data you ripped, well done by the way, tells me Hardin is making a rare inspection of the sidereal horizon this cycle. It's a perfect chance to confront him outside of that compound he hides in. Fang takes a sharp turn onto a dimly lit side passage. Sidereal horizon. Still catching up? That's a massive colony ship being built out in the shipyard. Biggest commission Havenage has ever had. Fang slows and slips into a dark service tunnel where, somewhere in the black, a water pipe drips. It's him, Sleeper. The same Hardin Hurst. Our worm ripped out decades of records that mention him by name, an entire trail of documentation from the first days of the Solheim collapse until now. He wrote out the whole thing, slipped into Havenage when it first broke off from the Union. He paces in the tunnel, a hand rubbing at the back of his head. I need you to understand something about Solheim, Sleeper. I don't know what you know about the collapse, but it wasn't as instant as it sounds. It wasn't like Solheim was here running the station one day, and the next, Erland's Union took power. Back then, Solheim knew this place was slipping away from them. As the palladium market collapsed, they tried to keep the contractors here working. The pay got smaller, the costs higher. People like my parents were forced to work non-stop just to keep a berth on the station and water in their tanks. Solheim squeezed every last worker until the mistakes, the accidents, were coming in non-stop. And as new waves of contractors came in, desperate to work, Solheim welcomed them, taking bribes instead of checking pilot licenses. The whole time, Solheim was folding up, dragged into court cases in the central systems, while this severed limb of a station still desperately tried to make all it could. The riots came after the collision at Dock 2. A young pilot, his MEV overloaded with palladium, miscalculated his trajectory and took out a section of the ring. Hundreds died, thousands panicked. My parents told me people were terrified, and the blame fell squarely on Solheim. People like to tell stories about Erland, how he brought the factions together, spoke to the crowds, turfed out Solheim. Maybe that's true, but my mother, pregnant with me, locked herself in their MEV and welded it to the dock while my father joined the improvised crews trying to seal up the ragged edges of the gap. He never came back. They sealed it up, though. And by the time they did, Solheim was gone, abandoning every one of us to the black. Apart... Fang finally turns back to you now, his eyes burning. Apart from shits like Hardin. Shits who held their place, rode it out, and slipped into the new structure like nothing had changed, standing shoulder to shoulder with those they had exploited at every step. Fang starts walking again. That's why I can't just let him strut about the shipyard. This time his past catches up with him. How is he still alive? Clearly you don't know much about executives. That kind of power comes with certain, benefits. Feng rejoins the main passageway, which is now wide and glass-roofed. Through the ceiling you can see ships in mid-construction, their flanks lit by the flashes of plasma torches. The entrance to the shipyard is ahead. Let's go. Feng grins. Let's show this shithead some consequences. He strides to the shipyard entrance and pushes through the doors. A web of corridors lead through the complex, snatches of the construction base always appearing through windows. Ships are suspended like whale corpses, skeletal, imposing. Feng seems to know exactly where he is going, and before long you cross into a huge dry dock located to one side of the sidereal horizon. A network of platforms and scaffolding cling to the ship's hull, filled with workers and equipment. The sound is stretched out by the vast space so that the welding, cutting, and sealing seems to come from everywhere at once. Both you and Feng spot them at the same time, a group walking slowly across a gantry, and at the front, two men, one gesturing towards the ship and the other stick-thin, cleanly dressed, with a shock of gray hair. Hardin. You and Feng say his name in unison, and Feng sets off up the staircase to the gantry, with you following behind. As you come to the same level, the group is passing closer, the foreman gesturing to the work being done throughout the dock, and Hardin nodding along. Hardin Hurst! Feng shouts across the noise, taking you by surprise. His voice bounces and comes back in a rippling echo. The figures turn. Yes? Hardin asks quizzically, raising an eyebrow. He glances between you and Feng, and you see his gaze linger on your body, unsure of why a sleeper might be in this place. You are a traitor, Hardin. A Solheim executive who tried to hide here among its victims. Feng's voice is steady, strong. You stand for everything the Eye was rebuilt in the shadow of, against everything Erland stood for, everything Havenage stands for. You have no place on this station. For a moment, stillness descends on the group, as if everyone was held in place by the rattle of construction. Well, good to meet you too. He glances around at those around him. Some are smiling, the others nervous. You are from the systems branch, are you not? Asks Hardin, inspecting Feng's clothing. Feng turns to the foreman. You need to call your security. This man is a corporate agent. The foreman glances between Feng and Hardin, his hands drumming at his sides. Hardin leans towards him and says something inaudible. The foreman nods. It's true. As you begin speaking, Hardin turns his attention to you. And what would a sleeper know about that? You accuse me of being a corporate agent. What are you, if not exactly that? He looks around the group, who are already eyeing you with suspicion. You are a product of S&ARP. You have no place in a Havenage shipyard. Who knows what signals you are sending back to your makers? A murmur of approval runs through the group. Feng holds up a stick of memory. You guessed right, I am systems. And I have records that link you directly to Solheim right here. He turns to the foreman again. So once again, I am asking you to take this man into the custody of the shipyard. The foreman remains still. Hardin's voice is calm, measured. If you have such data, why hasn't it been submitted at a members' meeting for a proper review? He shakes his head. I have nothing to hide, unlike a man who does not announce his name, who enters my shipyard with corporate property in tow, and tries to turn my own men against me. You hear it now, the echoing sound of boots on walkways coming from all angles at once, and then settling behind you. Please, submit the data through the correct channels, then we can talk. For now, however, you must leave. He gestures behind you to the security detail, their hands on boxy black sidearms at their sides. Feng spits. Hardin, you shithead. You can't wriggle out of this one. A security officer draws their weapon and levels it. Feng turns and stares him down. Calm Feng. You look at Feng. He shakes his head and puts a hand on your shoulder. Let's go, says Feng, and he pushes through security, heading back down the walkway. Once security has walked you out of the shipyard and nudged you back into the corridor, Feng picks up the pace. You try to keep up as he slips into the shadows of an entrance. Feng is grinning ear to ear. You know, Sleeper, Sometimes people are exactly how you expect them to be. Something pings in his pocket and he takes it out. On the slate, a web of connections starts drawing itself out, stretching to a set of points around the ring. Got him. What's going on? Hardin is doing what any sneaky shithead always does, calling his friends. We're tracking his outgoing messages. Fang's grin looks ghostly in the uplight of his screen. The old ways are best. Spook them good enough and they'll give the game away. He jabs at the slate and you see the web is being drawn over a map of the ring, lines bouncing from point to point. All these dots? These are Hardin's buddies, the ones he is messaging right now. And we are going to find them all. That was on purpose. Of course! Hardin isn't working alone. We need the full set or nothing. Fang glances around and slips the slate back into his pocket. We better split for now, Sleeper, but this is exactly what we need. Good hunting. With a pat on your shoulder, Fang drifts away, back into the flow of people around the shipyard entrance. You watch him go, unsure whether to be angry or impressed. Okay then, and we got an upgrade point. Ever since the trip to the shipyard, Fang has been missing from his bay. But we do have a point. Sunbathed dice action is a way we can use up dice. But a chance to gain a random scrap item on engineer actions would also be good. We need scrap items. I'll take that. And then I'll upgrade engineer a bit further. That said, I'm going to end this episode here. Next episode, we'll do some more wandering around and see what else we can do. Till then, I am Chester44, also known as Fly. This has been a Let's Play of Citizen Sleeper, and I shall see you all next time.